Okay, for example, your phone, your smartwatch, okay, your even though your TV, okay, you can connected your TV and another devices. Okay, this is the ICT. Okay, we talk about the security, IT security. Okay, devices, robotics. Okay, application of the AI. Okay, rockets. Okay, smart car and so on. Okay, that's the implementation of the ICT. So basically, ICT is the one of the branch of the IT lah. Okay, ICT is we can simplify is we talk about IT. IT is the ICT is the general of the IT itself. Okay, so basically IT ada software engineering, okay, networks, okay, graphic and so on. But the main branch is the ICT. Okay. Okay, this is one of the example of the ICT world. Okay, nowadays we are familiar with the artificial intelligence. Okay, since most of, I think all of you here in this group from engineering and ICT student kan. Okay, saya dengar cerita ada yang tak boleh change program ke ICT, betul ke? Because so semua orang akan stay dekat engineering, betul ke?
Betul, sir.
Betul.
Betul, sir. Sedih.
Betul, sir.
Betul
Betul, Hakim.
Maybe you have interested later bila nak go to kuliah, then you can apply for changes code. Okay, bagi saya tak ada masalah korang stay dekat engineering sekarang ni. Okay, cuma subjek lah berlainan sikit dengan ICT sepatutnya. Okay, but it's not a big problem for me. Okay, even though kalau korang pergi dekat ICT world, even though you are going for job nanti pun, okay, tak semestinya korang kena belajar IT saja. Okay, for example, you want to develop a system. Okay, the system is integrated with the hospital, for example. Okay, you need to know about the hospital development, hospital punya flow process and so on. This is the same thing. Okay, basically that's when we go to IT, okay, you need to know all everything. Okay, you need to go deep in everything. Okay, because now everything is go towards the IT. Okay, and IT people needs to learn everything, not only the IT world. We need to know everything. Okay, for example, now we have the artificial intelligence. Okay, so artificial intelligence is the main part of the one of the ni lah biggest nowadays in the technologies. Okay, dalam artificial intelligence we can talk about machine learnings, okay, and also deep learnings, okay, and also kalau pernah dengar fuzzy logic juga ialah some part of the artificial intelligence. Okay, kau pernah belajar kan semua kan about artificial intelligence. Boleh tak mute? Okay, if you have any question you can interrupt my session, tak ada masalah. Okay. So AI nanti kita akan cerita later lah, part of it in chapter 1. Okay, kalau pergi kuliah nanti sampai ambil ICT ataupun information technology, nanti korang akan belajar more deep on the AI. Okay, you can do implementation of AI. Okay, you need to use tool for AI, machine learning, deep learning and fuzzy logic and so on. Okay, dah ada course dia lah. Okay, korang kena refer which program that offer artificial intelligence subjects. Okay, for this subject, we have a 5 chapter and 2 chapter for labs. Okay, the chapter 1, the introduction to ICT. Okay, for today we go for introduction of to ICT. Okay, which is the chapter 1. Okay, for chapter 2 we talk about the software. Okay, software including the application software. Okay, operating system and so on. Okay, for chapter 3 we talk about the internet and the webs. Okay, so we go to the internet and the webs, and chapter 4 is about the communication and networks. Okay, we learn about the physical devices, okay, how the internet works and so on. Okay, and the last chapter for other than lab is the chapter 5, which is the privacy, security and ethics. Okay, so you will learn the basic about the privacy, security and ethics. For example, how to track the bugs, for example. Okay, what's kind of the threats that can be attacked your device, for example. Okay, that we talk in the chapter 5. And we also have 2 subjects for labs, okay, which is the Microsoft Excel. Okay, you will use the Microsoft Excel for this subject. Okay, make sure you install Microsoft Excel before we start our Microsoft Excel labs. Okay, and another one is the data analysis using Python. Okay, for data analysis using Python, we will install Anaconda apps. Okay, I will give you the installation later in the my share Google Drive. Okay, you can install into your computer. Okay. Okay, for teaching material, biasanya saya akan guna iTalem. Okay, so all my slides, my lab sheet, and all my for online, we are using quiz. Okay, and final exam, I think they also use iTalem. Okay, make sure you can log in into your iTalem. Okay, by this week. Okay. And I also have one share Google Drive that I share some of the videos related to our topics, okay, by chapter lah. Okay, for example, for chapter 1, I prepare the slides, okay, also the lab sheet that I will put later in the both iTalem or Google Drive, okay, and also the video related to the chapter. Okay, so that's the link for my share Google Drive. You can type the link bit.ly/mtaufik. Okay, if you go directly to my share Google Drive. Okay, so let's open. Okay, this is the folder that have as of today. Okay, so first, this is the timeline for our subject. Okay, so you can refer to the timeline, and I also refer the timeline. Okay, for our class activities. Okay, which is this week we will go to introduction and overview of IT. Okay, and this is the course outline. Okay, so this is the course outline about this course. Okay, so what will you learn about the subject and so on. Okay, and also here we have a 3 folder. Okay, we have 3 folders. The first one is the lecture notes. Okay, all lecture notes will be divided into chapters. Okay, for today we have a chapter 0 and chapter 1. Okay, chapter 0 is the introduction. Now they are presenting lah. Okay, for chapter 1 we will talk later after chapter 0, after the introduction. Okay, of this course. Okay, so inside here I will put all the materials related for chapter 1 only. Okay, which is the slide, okay, picture related, video, and also the current time video lah. Okay. Okay, later I will upload a file related for chapter 1. Okay. And also we doesn't have any physical books for this semester. Okay, so tak perlulah korang keluar duit untuk beli buku, but the e-books can be accessed directly from my share Google Drive. Okay, you can go to my Google Drive. Okay, you can type bit.ly/mtaufik. So the second folder is the ebook folder. Okay, as you can see here, this is the basic application books. Okay, so this is for internet circulation only. Okay, you can download for free. Okay, and we will physically have this book on Sem 2, I think. Okay, this is not finalized yet. Okay, this is under editing, still under editing, but this is the final for semester 1. Okay, and the second one is the PDF for data analysis using Python. Okay, Python is the one of the programming language that you will learn, okay, in this subject. Okay, so we use a Python language for data analysis. Okay, I will provide you a sample of data, or you can find sample of data that you want to do data analysis. Okay, and I will show some of the programming language that instruction or the program that related for data analysis. Okay, and the third one is the lab manual for the Excel. Okay, and also we will refer to this e-books for our class for Excel. Okay. And that's a video for snipping tool, how to use snipping tool to crop your image on your desktop Windows. Okay, maybe for Mac user you can find different way, or any other Windows you can find any other application for you to crop Okay, it's a picture. Instead of you take out your phone and snap it. Okay, you can use a snipping tool. Okay, you can search on your desktop, on your laptop. Okay. Okay, that's for our teaching material. So make sure you can log in into Ayat Taklim. Okay, you can open my share Google Drive also. Okay. Okay, this is the carry mark for this subject. Okay, so basically you will have the 100% lah. Okay, now you are starting with 0 lah. Okay, we have a 2 quiz. Okay, so each quiz or for quiz 1 we give you 12% from your total carry marks. Okay, for quiz 1 only chapter 1. Okay, that we will cover for this week. Okay, and another quiz is quiz 2 for chapter 2 only 8%. So both quiz will give you 20% of your total carry marks. Okay, and then we have a 2 assignment. Okay, first the assignment for Microsoft Excel. Okay, the portion only 10% because another 10% will go into your final exam. Okay, and the second assignment is Python. Okay, Python will give you 20% of the total carry marks. Okay, so this is a big portion because the Python is not covered in your final exam. Okay, maksudnya Python tak ada dalam final exam. It's just for your assignment 2. Okay, assignment 2 saja. And for your final exam is 50%. So total here is 100%. Okay. Okay, study tip. Okay, start early. Okay, read, teach. Okay, when you share something that you also makes your knowledge more deep understanding lah. Okay, that's why I ask you if you have anything. Okay, if you have any question, you can post in the WhatsApp group. You share the information. Okay, maybe some of you can share about your opinion or the answer, the best answer. Okay, we can help each other. Okay, and don't forget to have at least 6 hours sleep. Okay, every day. Okay, walaupun busy banyak mana pun, make sure you have enough sleep, at least 6 hours. Okay, so jangan kurangkan main game, manage your own time. Okay, so since you all here is university student, okay, bukan sekolah lagi, so I will treat you like a university student. Okay, so as a university student, tak semestinya I will feed you all everything. Okay, maybe I give you some question, okay, for you to search for the answer, okay, or maybe you're wondering something, you can search online, okay. If you have any question, you can ask in the WhatsApp group, okay, we share on our thought and opinion, okay, no problem. Okay, for me there is no stupid question, okay, but politician I will not talking in the WhatsApp group, okay. So anything you can ask, for example, I taking this subject, what is example of career that I can go, okay, you can ask the question, no problem. Okay, we can share, okay, I can give you some thoughts or highlight for your career future, no problem, in the WhatsApp group. Okay, and for question, okay, if you have any question, don't post it on midnight. Okay, saya takkan jawab lah. Okay, I have my own limit. Okay, sebab sekarang ni pun saya attach dekat PPW UAE Kuantan. Okay, pusat pemberian vaksin. Okay, so sekarang ni pun saya dekat somewhere else outside the PPW, but not in the Gambang campus. Okay, dan nanti lepas kelas saya akan masuk balik dekat PPW in IUN Kuantan campus. Okay, so if you have anything, you can post in the WhatsApp group. Maybe some of you can share the thought or we can share each other. Okay, I will not be in the campus for this semester. Okay, siapa ada dekat campus, pergi bilik saya, memang saya tak ada lah. Okay, for next semester, insyaAllah I will be there. Okay, this is my location lah, dekat room 61, level 1, ujung sekali dekat tepi tangga. Okay, bilik saya tak jauh, opposite kepada Odai punya office saja. Okay, that's the main road for to go to the Mahalah Brothers. Okay, so dekat Mahalah Brothers memang akan lalu dekat office saya lah. Okay. Okay, any question? Let me know. Okay, jangan expect saya akan baca korang punya thought. Okay, if you have anything, for example, you tak sihat ke, okay, you want to go to vaccination program ke, okay, let me know. Okay, if you have any difficulties to join the class, let me know. Okay, no problem. Any MC, make sure you have your own MC. Okay, either you take pictures or you can send into WhatsApp group. Okay, PM me directly lah, send your MC. Okay, slip of MC. Okay, if you are not attending the class. Okay, the attendance for class is minimum for you not attending the class is 11%. Okay, more than 11%, basically 11% dalam 6 hours lah. Okay, 6 hours dalam 3 meetings. Okay, kalau tak datang dalam 3 meetings, then you will receive warning letters first. Okay, 20 hours tak datang meeting, then you will bar from your final exam. Okay, bar final exam maksudnya you need to retake this subject, okay, or another subject, other subject for the next sem. Okay. Okay, any question before we start our first chapter for this subject? Okay, any question you can interrupt the session, tak masalah. Okay, let's start our lecture for chapter 1. Okay, for chapter 1, I combine the overview of IT and also current trend. Okay, so I will show you some of the related current trend of IT nowadays. Okay, and I think some of you already heard about, for example, cloud computing, okay, wireless technology, industrial revolution, okay, AI that I mentioned before. Okay, that's we talk after this, but stay in the chapter 1. Okay, okay, for chapter 1 is the overview of IT. Okay, so this is the learning outcome. Okay, able to identify and explain the basic concept of computer. Okay, you will learn what is the computer. Okay, you will learn about what is the component of computer itself. Okay, for example, when you buy your new device, for example, kalau korang beli telefon baru atau laptop baru kan, korang akan jumpa RAM. Ada, for example, 4GB RAM, okay, 6GB RAM, 8GB RAM, 16GB RAM. Okay, why you need to have the RAM? Okay, and also you have the storage. Okay, for example, SSD, okay, pen drive, hard disk drive, SD card for your phone or for your laptop or any other device. Okay, your PC, for example. Okay, what's the difference between RAM and storage? Then we talk later after this. And also the element of the IT, information technology, and also information system. Okay, and other terminologies for the computer. Okay, so basically we are using computer to assist our daily activities. For example, you're using your computer for communication, for example, okay, for texting, for sending data, okay, to capture a picture, image, video, and so on. Okay, that's we are using computer. Okay, nowadays. Okay, compare to sebelum adanya computer, they are taking pictures using only cameras. Okay, not a smartphone. Okay. For example, cameras, okay, when you want to write down document, okay, you're using a paper and pens, okay, maybe a typewriter kan, instead of using a computer or PC nowadays kan. Okay, so that's the changes of our daily activities by the help of the computer. Okay, so it has a pro and cons. For example, it has a lot of, for example, if you have a lot of files, okay, you're using computer, then you can manage the file inside your computer itself. Okay, if you doesn't have your computer, then you need to print out, you need to make sure you file the document in the safe place, okay, and also all. Okay, but the disadvantages, for example, you're only dependent on the computer. Okay, tak ada komputer dia tak boleh buat kerja. Bila tak ada komputer, dah blur, tak tahu nak buat apa. Okay, that's the disadvantages of nowadays technologies. Okay, in our daily life. So basically, what is the computer? Okay, so kita cakap komputer. Apa itu komputer? Our smartphone is a computer. Our smartwatch is it a computer? Okay, so basically, computer is an electronic device. Okay, that's operate under the control of store instruction in its memory. Okay, for example, your phone considered as a computer. It's a small computer. Okay, your smartwatch is a small computer because it consists of electronic device. Okay, and the store instruction. Okay, the instruction, for example, we can imagine as the operating system is the instruction. Okay, okay, for example Android, okay, Windows, okay, Macintosh, okay, Mac OS kan. Okay, that's an example of the instruction. Okay, even though we call it as the operating system. Okay, because it is the instruction that to operate our system. Okay, so a computer is a programmable. Okay, you can program how the devices or the hardware or your smartwatch or your laptop or your smartphone to be function. Okay, you can program how the computer or your electronic devices to function. Okay, this is a programmable. Okay, and the function of the computer nowadays used to capture and process the data. Okay, so basically you capture, for example, you take a picture and you process the data. For example, you want to filter the picture to become anything lah. Okay, so that's the function of the computer. And also computer can be used to generate result and store data. Okay, generate result, for example, you want to calculate your monthly income. Okay, or you want to use your Instagram for your business purpose. Okay, you want to sell a scarf and so on. Okay, shawl ke apa kan. Okay, you can use Instagram. Okay, they can show you, for example, your sales per month, per day. Okay, which one gender of interest in your business. You can use the Instagram business account. Okay, that's example of the function of the computer to helps you to increase your daily activities. Okay. Okay, what is the advantages of using the computer? Okay, for example, speed. Okay, you can calculate a million of data per second. Okay, you also can use as a calculator. Okay, you can use for anything. Okay, it's simply and the speed is very fast to do some process. For example, you want to search a file or any documents that store inside your device. Okay, this is very fast. Okay, compare you have a bulk of documents in paper. Okay, you need to find one by one. Okay, so that's example of the advantages of the computer. Okay, we also have the reliability, consistency, storage, and communication capabilities. Okay, so that's example of the advantages of using a computer nowadays. Okay, we have 4 types of computer. Okay, the first one is the supercomputer. Okay, second one we have the mainframe. The third one we call it as a server. Okay, or we call it as a mid-range computer. And the last one we have the microcomputer. Okay, as you can see on the right side is the image of the first computer in the world. Okay, and the size only 5 MB. Okay, in the year 1956. Okay, tahun 1956. Okay, so this is the first computer that transport from the production into the company lah. Saya tak tahu which company who buy this computer. Okay, as you can see, 4 orang, 5 orang tarik untuk naikkan atas lori saja. Okay, but the size of the capacity storage only 5 MB. 5 MB kau rasa sekarang apa je korang boleh isi? Mungkin you take a picture of 6K punya resolution picture, dah 5 MB, just one picture. But here in 1956, okay, 5 MB tu sebenarnya dah banyak dah data yang korang boleh store. Okay, kalau korang pernah tengok one YouTube video about exploring Saturn 5 punya rocket, okay, Saturn 5 NASA punya rocket, dia punya capacity RAM of storage saya rasa tak sampai 5 MB. Okay, but the device is very big, the RAM itself. Okay, I will share you later lah after this about the Saturn 5 punya physical RAM storage. Okay. Okay, let's go for the first one type of computer. So we have the supercomputer. Okay. So since the name of the supercomputer, so it's a high performance lah. Okay, most powerful and most expensive computer system in terms of processing capabilities, storage capacity, and also accuracy by very large organization. Okay, so basically supercomputer ni orang guna untuk research purpose. Okay, bukan untuk bank processing or transaction processing tak. We are not using supercomputer for that purpose. Okay, so basically supercomputer used to execute multiple calculations simultaneously. Okay, dia guna untuk calculate calculation simultaneously at the same time. Okay, that's why I mentioned here supercomputer is used for research purpose only. For example, you want to do research on nuclear research, okay, exploring oil and gas, physics, simulation and so on. Okay, they're using supercomputer for this purpose. Okay, because the supercomputer is used to measure a floating point operation per second, or we call it as a flops. Okay, sebab tu dia perform only on the calculation. Okay, so it's not used for processing bulk of process. For example, transaction money, okay, to anything lah, airline ke and so on. Okay, and which is more accurate measurable than million instruction per second. Okay, so basically used for calculation. Dia macam calculator besar lah. Okay, this is what the function of the supercomputer. Okay, and this is example of the picture of supercomputer. Okay, as you can see, there are a lot of boleh kita panggil macam room lah. Okay, this is one of the supercomputer punya data center room. Okay, so minta mute Okay, so as you can see here, this is a one cabinet. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and many more lah for one row of supercomputer. As you can see, there are many rows of supercomputer here. Okay, this is to perform maybe 1 or 2 process only. Okay, but the calculation is a lot lah. Okay, for example, you can use supercomputer to do a prediction on the weather. Okay, forecasting weather. Okay, for example, in a few days or few hours later, what's the prediction weather on your certain area. Okay, for example, dekat Kuantan ke, dekat KL, okay, dekat UK, for example. Okay, they are using supercomputer to predict the forecasting the weather for entire world, for each location, for each district, and for each region. Okay, they're using supercomputer. Okay, that's why the supercomputer is used for research purpose only. Okay, even though your phone can or your laptop can show the weather forecasting, okay, but the supercomputer is the one who do the calculation. Okay, it send the data to your devices, and your devices will show only the output of the research purpose. Okay, the research update. Okay. Okay, second one we have the mainframes. Okay, so mainframe is a computer used by large organization, for example, banks, airlines, and so on. Okay, because the mainframe is used or is designed for batch processing and records keeping. Okay, so for example, in 1 second, okay, mainframe can perform million of instruction per second. Okay, for example, Mahasejahtera kan, as we know, dekat Malaysia ni ada 30 juta orang. Okay, kita ada 30 juta penduduk, tapi tak semua orang ada Mahasejahtera kan. For example, we can take half, okay, 50 million, okay, 15 juta. Okay, 15 juta, for example, only maybe 50% lagi, okay, 7.5 people will click to re-enter for some facilities. Okay, korang kena scan QR code tu kan. Okay, all the information will be processed in the mainframe. Okay, they will show you, oh, you already log in this place. Okay, what's the time, the location. Okay, what's the risk area of the location and so on. Okay, within the radius of 1 kilometer, for example. Okay, it's calculated by the mainframe and show you into your devices. Okay, not your computer or your smartphone that do the calculation. Basically, the mainframe will do the calculation and send it to your devices. Okay. So mainframe also can be used such as industry, consumer statistic, okay, enterprise resource planning, or we call it as ERP. Okay, for example, if you go to industrial base, okay, you will use the enterprise resource planning. Okay, enterprise resource planning, for example, kalau pernah dengar SAP punya program. Okay, SAP is one of the application used to as a ERP in the industrial base. Okay, for example, tracks recruit from the beginning until the end. Okay, from the beginning, for example, you buying the raw products until you develop all the products in the production line until you sell the product into the final consumer. Okay, that's the example of the enterprise resource planning. Okay, also can be used for transaction processing. For example, kalau you buy something on the Shopee, okay, and so on, you do bank transactions from bank to banks. Okay, for example, from Maybank to CMB banks and so on. Okay, they're using the mainframes. Okay. Okay, here in the link below, you can see watch how Google Data Center works. Okay, for example, all your information that I share in the Google Drive, okay, will go to the Google Drive Data Center through the cloud. Okay, so what is cloud? I will talk later in the IT Drive. Okay, so all the information that you uploaded into your Google account will go to the Google Data Center. Okay, for Facebook, they have their Facebook Data Center itself. Okay, you can search online Facebook, Instagram Data Center, any application that they have their own data center. Where is all the information or the data we store in their data center. Okay, so anything that you post online, basically, for example, for your WhatsApp, you send a picture, you do a video conference on the WhatsApp, on the Instagram, or any platform on the networks. Okay, all the information, all the video will be stored as their proof for your activities. Okay, so make sure you post an appropriate image. Okay, that's why kalau korang post something that's not appropriate, for example, you are mocking someone on the internet, okay, even though you delete the file or the text, they still can track. Okay, korang delete, tapi the blueprint of your posting is still there in the data center. The government can request, for example, you post on Facebook, okay, they can request from this account, okay, the data sekian, can you send it as a proof for our side? Yes, they can. Yes, they can do that. Okay, that's why we have the SKMM, okay, and the police report. Okay, so when someone do a police report, okay, and the SKMM will take action on based on the police report. Okay, they can request from the data center or the data owner. Okay, for example, Facebook, they akan request dengan Facebook lah, and so on. Okay, so make sure you post something that appropriate on your comment and so on the internet. Okay, nak mocking someone ke, make sure you think first before you do something that is not good lah. Okay. Okay, this is an example picture of the mainframe. Okay. Okay. I can share you the price. Harga untuk satu biji mainframe, IBM mainframe ni, Blue Origin ni, harga dia 1.2 million ringgit, 1.2 juta, without the operating system yet, just a physical hardware devices. Okay, if you can go to the IBM punya website, you can go to IBM ZOS. Okay, you can search for the quotation and so on. Okay, the price is more than 1 million lah. Okay, if you can buy this computer, then you're very rich people lah. Okay, next we have the mid-range computer, or we call it as a server. Okay, for basically kau dengar kan website ni served by this server. Oh tak pun website ni tak boleh access sebab server down. Okay, yes, all the website will be served by a server, or we call it as a mid-range computer. Okay. So mid-range computer or server is a central computer that holds collection of the data and program for connecting or supplying service to many personal computer. Okay. So, for example, forecasting, anything that you receive from your phone is connected or sending by the mid-range computer. Okay, for example, from the supercomputer, do the forecasting, okay, and the data will sent or request by the server who hosting the website. Okay, website forecasting weather lah, for example. Okay, dia akan receive the data from the supercomputer. Okay, and share all the information through the internet connection. Okay, once you have the internet connection, then you can get the latest news feed. Okay, for example, the any news lah, or you can refresh your weather's forecasting and so on. Okay, so that's why you need to have the internet connection and also your devices that connected to the server using the internet. Okay, so all connection device which connect to the internet or as the end user we call as a client. Okay, for example, my device right now, I'm using my laptop for facilitate the online meetings. Okay, my laptop is one of the client. Okay, my phone as example or another example of the client. Okay, once it's connected to the internet, it become a client. Okay, client of the internet lah. Okay, which server is connected is depend on the website that you go. For example, you go to facebook.com, they have their own server who facilitate or hosting the website. Okay, apa Instagram, they have their own server who hosting the website and so on. Okay. Okay, lastly is the microcomputer. Okay, or we also call it as a personal computer or PC. Okay, so this is a popular in office, school, and home and so on because it is easy to travel. Okay, this is tiny. Okay, easy to move from one place to one place. Okay, that's why we call it a microcomputer. So basically, your tablet, your smartwatch, okay, your smartphone and so on, that's considered as a microcomputer. Okay. Okay, how the communication between the user and also the computer. Okay. Sebenarnya komputer tak akan faham apa yang kita cakap sekarang. Okay, because the computer only understand in the binary number or the analog data. Okay, so that's the communication between human and also the computer. Okay, when though you type the keyboard kan, A, B, C and so on, okay, the data will translate into the binary number or the analog data. Okay, so as for a computer, it is an electronic device that is powered by electricity. Okay, as you know, you need to have the power source to operate your devices. Okay, if you doesn't have any battery or source of power then your device is not functional. Okay. Okay. It is recognized only in two states, either on and off. Okay, so macam switch lampu lah, on and off. Okay, either 0 or 1. Okay, either true and false. Okay. Okay, this is known as the digital data. Okay, so saya rasa korang pernah belajar kot dekat make mode. Okay, for example, korang belajar make mode tu kan, just hafal, okay, understand how to perform the calculation and or not semua tu. Okay, so this is an example of the implementation of the apa yang korang belajar dekat make mode dulu lah. Okay, for example in IT world. Okay, so digital data is discontinuous, expressed as discrete bursts of on and off electric paths. Okay. Okay, another example of data representation of the computer is in analog data. Okay, so it uses a continuous signal or wave that vary in strength and frequency. Okay, for example, the human voice. Okay, for example, you are connected to the certain frequencies for radio station, for example. Kau nak dengar radio era, for example, hits ke, apa, IKIM ke. Okay, you need to have the frequency of the wave, certain frequency for you to connect to the channel. Okay, and also our voice is not measured in the digital data, either 0 or 1. Okay, how you want to measure the analog data as a 0 and 1? So that's why the data representation for the wave, okay, for the computer we're using the analog data. Okay. Okay, let's continue for the binary number. So binary number macam by lah, by is 2 kan. Okay, so it is two state of digital data are represented by 2 digits. Okay, 2 digits ada. That's why we call as a binary number. Okay, so the number is only either 0 and 1 only. Okay, either 0 and 1. That's why we call it as a binary. Okay, 2 digits only. So the digit 0 is represented of this off state. Okay, the absence of the electronic charge. Okay, maksudnya tak ada present of the electric lah. Okay, off state maksudnya lampu terpadam, for example. Okay, and digit 1 represent the on state. Okay, on state maksudnya the present of the electrical charge lah. Okay, for example, dekat this is the on the right image is the first IBM vacuum tube. Okay, so dalam vacuum tube tu this represent either on and off. Okay, So the two state of the representation by digit 0 and 1 numbering system is represent this state is the binary system. Okay, so either 0 and 1 we call it as a binary system. Okay, sebab dia datang daripada binary number lah, we call it as a binary system. Okay, system 2 digit. Okay, so the digits are known as the binary digits. Okay, or just a bits. Okay, so a bits refer to the smallest unit of data, either 0 or 1. Okay, maksudnya satu bit is represent either 0 or 1. Okay, ada 0, either 1 ataupun 0. Okay, 1 bit. Okay, and 1 byte of data consists of 8 bits of the binary number, either 0 and 1. Okay. Okay, this is the storage capacity. For example, korang biasa dengar kan 1 kilobyte, okay, 1 megabyte, 1 gigabyte, and so on. Okay. So basically, for 1 GB lah, biasanya kita dengar gigabyte kan, 4 GB of RAM storage. Okay, 64 gig of storage capacity for your smartphone. Okay, 128, 256, 512 GB of storage. Okay, for example, 1 GB, 1 gigabyte is represent as a 1 billion of byte. Okay, 10 power of 9. Okay, 10 kuasa 9. Okay, 1 gigabyte. Okay, dia byte bukan bit. Maksudnya kalau bit, korang kena kali lagi 8. Okay, so you have 8 billion of bits, either 0 or 1s. Okay. Okay, why we need to measure all this in a bit or bytes? Because okay, for example, you type something on Microsoft Word, or you want to represent something in your apa yang kau nampak dekat screen sekarang kan. For example, A, B, C, ASCII code. Okay, one character here, the computer only understand in a binary number. Okay, for example, you want to store data of capital A besar. Okay, so A besar, apa yang kita nampak cuma A besar, one character only. But here, the computer will store the data as the binary number. Okay, dia akan store 01, 00, 0001. Okay, itu adalah data yang akan dia simpan dalam storage. Okay, but what the value or the character will represent for that binary number is A. Apa yang kau nampak sebenarnya A. Tapi apa yang komputer simpan adalah in a binary number. Okay, in a present or the absence of the electrical charge. Okay, so for example, you want to write in hello, okay, HELLO, okay, you need to, for example, you want to send as a Morse code, for example, in a binary number. Okay, secret chat, for example. Okay, you can use a binary number. Okay, no problem. But the character only represent in a 1 byte of data. Okay, so dia ada 4 bit. Okay, 4 bit, 8 bits of binary number represent 1 character. Okay, 1 byte lah. Okay, 1 byte only represent 1 character. Okay. Okay, next we have the basic operation of a computer. Okay, so first you need to have the input. Okay, after you have the input, then you need to process the data. Okay, for example, you want to open a file, okay, or you want to write something, or you want to calculate. Okay, what's the input device that you use to send the data, okay, to be processed by your computer. Okay, then we show the output or store the data into your storage. Okay, so this is the basic operation of the computer. So input, so an input device is essentially a piece of hardware that send data to a computer. So it send the instruction or command from you to the computer for process. Okay, for example, you're using keyboard, okay, mouse, okay, touch screen, anything. For example, microphone, okay, webcam. Okay, that's example of the hardware devices. Okay, because for example the webcam, okay, will capture the image of the surrounding, okay, and send the data to the processor to process the data. Okay, for example, anything that you touch on your phone, on the touch screen. Okay, that's an example of command that you ask your computer to perform. Okay, you type on keyboard lah, A, B, C. Okay, so that can process and show into your screen. Okay, that's an example of the hardware devices, input devices. Okay. Okay, after you send the command instruction to the computer, okay, you need to process the data. Okay, so to processing the data, you need to have the CPU, or we call it a central processing unit. Okay, so CPU is used to control the operation of the computer and perform its data processing function. Okay, for example, you want to open a file. Okay, you click this folder. Okay, after you reaching the folder, then you double click the file. Okay, when you click anything that you click, okay, that's an example of instruction that you give to the CPU to process. Okay, for example, double click this file, then it will open the file. Okay, the CPU will control all the activities on your devices. Okay, so the CPU contain the CO, or we call it as a control unit, and also arithmetic logic unit. So ALU ni function to do the arithmetic lah, the calculation. For example, addition, multiplication, okay, divide and so on. Okay, that's function of the ALU. Okay, so basically in the CPU there are two component unit, which is the control unit, okay, open, close and so on, okay, and also the calculation using the ALU, arithmetic logic unit. Okay, for example, you buy your phone, okay, you buy laptop, for example, Intel i9, okay, core processor and so on, okay, AMD Ryzen, okay, for example, you buy a phone, Snapdragon and so on, okay, that's example of the CPU installed into your devices. Okay, for example, Apple user, you're familiar with M1 chip. Okay, M1 chip is the CPU for your devices, for Apple products. Okay, some of the nowadays Apple product they use M1 chip, okay, to process the instruction of your devices. Okay, next we have the storage. Okay, so storage device keep or holds the data and programs during and after the processing. Okay, for example, you take a picture, okay, you save the picture into your storage devices. Okay, for example, your phone, the storage devices are already installed into your phone. Okay, or you want to extend the storage, you can buy a SD card, for example. Okay, SD card, then you slot into your SD card slot into your phone. Okay, for example, a pen drive. Pen drive is also a storage. Okay, you can use pen drive to transfer data from one device to another device. Okay, for example, you want to share movies, okay, with your friend, kan? Okay, you can transfer the movies from your laptop or your another devices, your phone, okay, into the pen drive. Then you can share the movies. Okay. Okay, for storage we have two kind of storage. Okay, the first one is the volatile storage, and also we have the non-volatile storage. Okay. Okay, what is the volatile and non-volatile storage? Okay, for volatile storage, it is a temporary storage which lose data when power is off. Okay, maksudnya, okay, for example, for volatile storage is the RAM. Okay, so basically you need to have the RAM to store the data during the processing. Okay, when you turn on your devices, okay, RAM will store the data, the instruction that went to you and to transfer, for example, from your non-volatile storage, for example, your pen drive, your hard disk, and so on, to the processing unit. Okay, your CPU. Okay, all the information will be stored into the volatile storage. Okay, for example, you write something in Microsoft Word. Okay, korang write something panjang, karangan kan, dah buat sampai 2-3 jam, you forgot to save. Okay, anything that you write that you are not saving, okay, your project or your assignment, anything that you write is temporarily stored in the volatile storage or the RAM. Okay, sebab tu kalau korang tak save your projects, okay, or anything that you write on something, tak kisahlah, misalnya Word ke, PowerPoint ke, and so on. Okay, if you're not saving, okay, it's only stored in the volatile storage. Kalau tiba-tiba terrestart korang punya devices or your phone, your laptop and so on, all the information will be lost. Okay, so rajin-rajin lah after a certain second or minutes korang type tu kan, save your project. For example, you can use a shortcut key Ctrl S or Command S to save your information from the volatile storage to the non-volatile storage. Okay. Okay, for non-volatile storage, okay, which is the permanent storage, which can be retrieved or store information even after having the power cycle. Okay, maksudnya sama ada power cycle, maksudnya you turn off completely your devices or you restart. Okay, that's an example of the power cycle. Okay, for non-volatile storage, we have hard disk drive, okay, SSD, okay, flash drive, USB, and so on. Okay, even though you power off your devices, the information or the data that stored in the non-volatile storage will be kept. Okay, unless you turn on, then you delete the data, okay, yang tu baru hilang lah. Okay, so that's the difference between volatile and non-volatile. Okay, that's why when you want to buy a new devices, okay, you need to make sure how many RAM, okay, for your devices. Okay, for example, for Windows, I urge you, if you have only 4 GB of RAM, okay, you can go to the control panel, okay, boleh lah, task manager, right click dekat bawah ni, taskbar ni, for Windows user, go to the task manager. Okay, so dekat task manager ni, you can see at the performance. Okay, so this is your CPU usage at this time lah. Okay, and as you can see here, this is the, I have a 12 GB of RAM storage. Okay, and now it's only it's have used 6 GB RAM. Okay, which means 60% of my storage has been used. Okay, kalau ada 4 GB RAM, saya sarankan korang upgrade lah, at least 6 GB or more. Okay, if you can upgrade. Okay, it's not a compulsory for you, but if you have a few bucks for you to spend on your devices, okay, for your devices running very smooth, okay, 8 GB I think is more than enough. Okay, 12 pun tak ada masalah. Okay, 4 GB is a bottom net. Okay, even though you are doing nothing, okay, for Windows 10, okay, you already almost reached 4 GB. Okay, if you have only 4 GB, then your computer is running very slow lah. Okay.
If I may interrupt.
Okay.
Does the document is the document that we save in Drive? Does that count as non-volatile?
In Drive.
Non-volatile.
Google Drive ke any drive lah, online drive.
Yes, online drive.
Okay, online drive they have their own non-volatile storage. Okay, dia takkan masuk dalam volatile storage. So basically, you can watch, you can see later after this lah about a data center tadi tu, how they store your picture and so on. Okay, so basically they have a lot of non-volatile storage inside their Google data center facilities to store our information. Okay, that's why all the information that you store in the cloud, okay, is not deleted. Even though there are something happen on the data center, okay, for example, Facebook dia ada 9 data center. Okay, each of the data center dekat 9 facility ni ada benda yang sama. Okay, walaupun tapi tempat dia tak sama. For example, yang saya tahu satu dekat Finland, dekat Asia ada dekat Filipina, tak silap ke Vietnam, bukan Malaysia lah. Okay, they have one data center for each region country. Okay, not region lah. For example, dekat Europe ada satu, dekat American ada 2, tak silap saya. Okay, each facilities have the same picture. For example, kalau korang tukar profile picture kat Facebook kan, okay, you change all the picture, okay, 9 facility ni akan ada gambar yang sama. Okay, even though one of the data center down, tak pun terbakar ke, tiba-tiba kena attack dengan Avengers and so on kan, another 8 ni akan take over. Okay, kecuali all the 9 data center have been destroyed, then your data will be lost lah. Itu je. Okay, sebab tu korang tak pernah dengar Facebook Okay, Google, Instagram semua ni, the service is down. Okay, because they has the same data in many facilities or data centers. Okay, good question, no problem. Basically, all the information they are stored in the non-volatile storage. Okay, even though tak apa, tengok je video tu, nanti dia tunjuk lah how they change the non-volatile storage in their facility. They are upgrading from hard disk drive to SSD to faster the processing and so on. Okay. Okay, lastly is the output. Okay, so anything that you type, takkan korang tak nampak kan? For example, you salah type and so on. Okay, you need to have the output. Okay, for example, the output is audio, you can use a speaker. Okay, for visualization, you can use a monitor. Okay, and also projector, and also you can use a printer to print as the hard copy. Okay, either plotter, printer, wireless printer, and so on. Okay, that's the example of the output that had been processed by your computer or your devices before it's print out as the output. Okay, next is the system unit. Okay, so system unit is a case. Maksudnya dia satu adalah bekas. Okay, it's a case that contain electronic components. Okay, for example, your phone, your smartphone is one of the system unit. Okay, sebab dia ada case and also the electronic component inside the case. Okay, for example, electronic component dia akan ada apa dah? RAM, CPU, storage, okay, and the board, so the motherboard itself. Okay, okay, that's example of the system unit. Okay, for example, your laptop, your mainframe, your server, supercomputer is the one as a system unit. Okay. Okay, memory kita dah cerita lah. Okay, what is the type of memory? We have the volatile and non-volatile memory. Okay. RAM, okay, so I already explained what is the RAM. Okay. Okay, storage yang kita cerita tadi, hard disk drive, okay, SSD, your pen drive and so on. That's example of the secondary storage, or we call it as a storage saja. Okay, primary storage is the RAM lah. Okay, that's why we call it as a primary. Okay. Okay, two component for the secondary storage. We have the physical materials. Okay, so physical material dia punya physical lah. Okay, for example, the hard disk drive, okay, SSD and optical disk. Okay, for storage devices, how the data is transferred in or out from your physical devices. Okay, for example, kalau korang ada CD or DVD lah, Blu-ray disc, okay, you need to have the read-write heads and also the optical drive. Okay, to read the data from the disc. Okay, for pen drive, you need to connect from the USB port lah. Okay, and also from the USB connector. Okay, that's the storage devices. Okay, SSD is not a very new technology lah. Okay, sebelum ada SSD sebenarnya pen drive pun dah kira SSD. Bukan dikira, dia memang SSD. It's a solid state drive. Dia tak ada physical, bukan kita nak cakap dia tak ada physical. It is not a mechanical movement inside the SSD. Okay, for example, dekat hard disk drive dia ada physical material that moving inside the hard disk drive. But SSD only a electrical charge that function the storage. Okay. So if you want to compare the SSD and the hard disk drive, SSD is more faster because okay, korang pernah tengok CD, DVD, Blu-ray kan? Okay, all the data will be stored in, along the way on the platter of the disk. Okay, but SSD is stored inside the chip. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, for you to retrieve the information inside the hard disk drive or Blu-ray disc, okay, you need to locate the location of the information along the disk. Okay, but kalau jumpa baru, you get the data, you assemble the data, then you represent the data. Okay, that's take a lot of time. Okay, compared to SSD, SSD is an electrical charge. Okay, it's easy to track where the data is stored. Okay, and just take it in within a second is more faster than second lah. Okay, but it's more faster compared to hard disk drive. Okay. Okay, this is the image of the hard disk. Okay, so kalau yang pernah buka pen drive, then That's example of a SSD. Okay. But dalam pen drive, kau takkan jumpa mechanical component macam dalam hard disk. Okay, this is the example of the image of the hard disk, inside the hard disk. Okay, as you can see, they also ada hard disk drive. That's why they call as a hard disk. Dalam dia memang ada disk yang keras. Okay, this is aluminium plated. Okay, and the data is that magnetically recorded in the hard disk. Okay, the record in the magnetic. Okay, the magnetic way. Okay, so commonly used for hard disk before this is is internal and also for additional, or we call it external storage. Okay, sekarang ni banyak orang dah guna pen drive kan, even though nowadays we have pen drive until 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte of pen drive. So sekarang ni hard disk dah macam kepupusan dah. Okay, because the hard disk is not like compared to SSD. Okay, but SSD doesn't have any magnetically not magnetic, any movement material inside the storage. Okay, that's why it's more lighter compared to hard disk. Okay, and also easy to travel. Okay, this is data storage and retrieval for the hard disk. Okay, we have the formatting. Okay, for formatting is divide this into tracks in sectors so data can be stored. Okay, so you need to format, for example, NTFS, okay, FAT32. For example, if kalau kau nak try, you can try to format your pen drive. Okay, but if you need to remember when you format your pen drive. Okay, kalau korang format pen drive, all the data or information will be deleted. Okay, so be careful lah when you want to format your pen drive. Okay, you have a FAT32 formatting devices for your pen drive. Okay, NTFS. Okay, that's the formatting available for you to format your storage. Okay, and also you need to have the operating system, or we call it as OS. Okay, OS record location of save files. Okay, and also we have track, sector, and cluster, and also the cylinder. Okay, so what is the difference between track, sector, and cluster? Okay, so this is the image for you to understand. Okay, korang boleh imagine korang pergi kat balapan padang tu. Okay, 400 meter. Okay, one round of the stadium tu we call as a one track. Okay, so basically dalam satu plated disk tu ada banyak track lah. Okay, so one round of the circle we call as a track. Okay, and one track, for example, we separate it into 100 meters kan. Okay, we have the 400 meters and separate it into 4 sectors. Okay, for each sector only the measure in 100 meters. Okay, so we call it one sector. Okay, for the 100 meter of range, for 100 meter of range we call it as sectors. Okay, and the combination of more than one sectors we call as a cluster. Okay, so when you complete one circle we call as a track. Okay, so we complete one circle we call as a track. Okay, next is for IT and IS. So IT is the use of any computer storage, networking, and other physical device, infrastructure, and process to create, process, stores, secure and exchange all form of electronic data or information. Okay, for example, you can use IT field for education. Okay, for example, you create iTaklim, iMaklum, and so on. Okay, healthcare. Okay, for example, MySejahtera. Okay, KKM punya websites and so on. Okay, that's example of the for healthcare use in the using the IT world. Okay, publishing, for example, News at Times. Okay, they publish all the news into the websites, for example. Okay, manufacturing, for example, ERP. Okay, enterprise resource planning. Okay, they use the SAP process. Okay, apps for manufacturing in the factory and so on. Okay, so that's implementation of IT. Okay, and for information system, is any organized system for the collection, organization, storage, and communication of information. Okay, So the goal of the information system is to produce a quality information. Okay, so this is the goal of the information system. Okay, for example, some of the example, okay, we have the data warehouse. Okay, data warehouse, for example, tadi tu Google data center tu. Okay, just example of the data warehouse. Okay, enterprise resource planning. Okay, for example, you keep all the files of your resources in one application for resource planning and monitoring, for example. Okay, office automation. Okay, and also GIS or Global Information System, for example. GIS ni adalah maps. Okay, Global Information System. Okay, on that location apa yang ada? For example, terrain, ada kawasan perumahan, ada kampung, for example, ada house. Okay, ada landslide, for example, ada river. Okay, that's example of the GIS, Global Information System. Okay. Okay, so this is the element. Okay, first you need to have the people as the end user lah. Okay, kalau tak ada people yang guna, apa function that you develop the system. Okay, you need to have the people. Okay, and then you need to have the procedure. Okay, procedure, for example, how the system or the application is function. Okay, how the behavior of the system. Okay, for example, for login kan, what's data that you want to use for login purpose. For example, biometric ke, okay, username, password, that's the common way for the websites. Okay, so that's the procedure. Okay, hardware. You need to have the hardware to store your data, or to process the data. You need to have the processor to process all the information. Okay, so that's why we talk about the hardware. Okay, the software is, for example, you need to have the operating system. Okay, kalau tak macam mana nak pakai phone kan, kalau tak ada Androids. When you doesn't have Android for your Samsung phone, for example, okay, you cannot install another apps, for example, WhatsApp and so on. Okay, you need to have the software to operate your hardware. Okay, as a program. Okay, and also data, for example, what data that you want to store. Okay, for example, pictures ke, video ke, okay, information about your client, okay, information about your manufacturing process and so on. Okay, and also the connectivity, either you're using the wireless connection, okay, or wired connection using a cable, fiber optics and so on. That's we talk about the connections. Okay. So any question before we take a rest for 2 minutes, before we jump for last part of our chapter 1, current trend of IT?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
So let's take a rest for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Then, okay, cloud computing, IoT, big data, and also artificial intelligence. Okay. So first is the wireless technology. So wireless technology is to provide the ability to communicate between two or more entities or devices over distance, okay, by using the wireless connection. Okay, it's not a wired connection. Maksudnya either you're using Wi-Fi, okay, mobile tethering and so on. Okay, for wireless technology, they're using radio frequency. Okay, so that's why lambang untuk data or wireless dia akan bagi korang lambang macam tu. Okay, is about the radio frequency, the power or the strength of your radio frequency connection. Okay, so that's why the icon is the radio wave. Okay, so if you have a lot of higher frequency, okay, which means your connection is very strong. Okay, if you have a low radio frequency, then your connection is not very strong. Okay, for example, you want to facilitate online meetings. If you have a low connection, maybe your video is loading or stuck. Okay, even though audio is not big frequency to transfer the audio data, but for video is a high frequency of data that needed to transfer. Okay. And also another wireless technology is the infrared technology. Okay, for example, dekat remote control kan, kat remote control kau akan nampak dekat ujung dia macam LED. It's not an LED. Basically, that is the infrared connection between your devices and the controller. Okay, so that's why bila kau klik the infrared connection, you need to have the direct connection between the device and also the controller. Okay. Okay, the advantages and disadvantages of the wireless technology. For example, it can reduce the maintenance and installation cost. Okay, sebab korang tak perlu install a lot of cabling. Okay, you just put the router or Wi-Fi to the nearest center. Okay, for example, you want to share the internet connection. Okay, and you can share the internet connection between all devices that in the radius of the dongle or the Wi-Fi connections. Okay. And the wireless network can be accessed from anywhere and anytime. Okay, for example, you can communicate from your room, okay, to your friend that living abroad, okay, or study abroad in UK ke dekat US ke and so on. Okay, you doesn't need to have the wired connection directly from your device to your friend devices. Okay, you can have the wireless connection. Okay. This also permit a professional complete their work's remote location. Okay, for example, you want to control all your hardware or devices in your home from your smartwatch or from your smartphone, for example. Okay, before you reach home, you can also open your gate. Okay, you can turn on the light. Okay, turn on the TV, for example, before you reach home. Okay, that's an example of the wireless connection. Okay. Increase the scalability depend on your environment needs. Okay, for example, you want to increase your urban area. Okay, education, for example. Okay, you can set up the internet and all the people who living at that location can have a better education, for example. Okay, by using the wireless technology. Okay, and the disadvantages of the wireless technology, it can lead to security threat and data exploitation. Okay, for example, all the information, all the data that you send from the connection, the internet connection, okay, because it is a wireless connection, okay, anyone can interrupt the session, interrupt the connection in your wave, okay. So, for example, kita pernah dengar kan ada orang interrupt the connection dan jadi orang pendengar ketiga, for example, dalam wireless connection or during your video call or voice call, okay, because it is an open connection, okay, within the radius. Okay, instead of using cable macam mana korang nak interrupt the session, you need to interrupt the cable first. Okay, but if you cut the cable, the connection will be lost. Okay, that's the difference between the cable and also the wireless technology. Okay. An authorized person can easily capture wireless signal. Okay, for example, I put some bugs or I hack using some tools, okay, to hack your Wi-Fi connection. Okay, then I can get the password. Then I can have my free internet connection from your services that you share with your unauthorized people or authorized people. Okay, because this is a wireless connection within the radius. Is I've have my own device within the radius, then I can simply get the username password for you, for me to use the devices. Okay, that's the possibility to hacks. Okay, increase chance of jamming. Okay, because this is a radio frequency. Okay, you can reflect the frequency in a certain ways. Okay, for example, you put aluminium foil dekat dongle tu, for example. Okay, at your router and so on, okay, then your frequency will be disrupted. Okay, and also the transmission speed is depend on the coverage. Okay, if you stay or your devices is stay far away from the receiver or the transmitter, for example the modem kan, okay, then you have the slow bandwidth or low bandwidth of network communication or network coverage. Okay, then your speed is very lah. It's not compared to cable network because it is more stable and reliable compared to wireless. Okay, that's the disadvantages of the wireless tech. Okay, next we have the industrial revolution. Okay, I think most of you have heard about the IR. Okay, for example, we have now in our technology now is the IR 4.0. Okay, dekat TV banyak kan. Okay. Okay, industrial revolution is begun in the 18th century in Britain. Okay, dia bermula dekat Britain dekat tahun 18 something lah. Okay, so industrial revolution is identified as the chance process from human handcraft or manual labor economy to industry and machine manufacturing. Okay, for example, okay, dekat industry 1.0, they're starting in the textile industry. Okay, they are using from the human labor. Okay, starting from human labor and move to the machine manufacturing. Okay, and as you can imagine, but when you are using machine manufacturing, the process is more faster. Okay, and it's more reliable compared to human. Human can do a mistake. Okay, but for machine, it's just follow the step. Okay, how you set up the instruction or how the machine works. That's how the output will be produced. Okay. So this is the stage of the industrial revolution. Okay, it starts from the 18th century where the steam technology is introduced in the manufacturing process. Okay, and followed by the second industrial 2.0 where the electricity is installed. Okay, then you have a lot more machine and the mass production can be produced at that time. Okay, when the electricity is coming. Okay, industry 2.0 is where you apply computing technology. Okay, masa ni computing technology tak ada macam sekarang AI. We are not talking about AI yet. Okay, computing technology maybe for example you can reduce the file of paperworks okay into a computer only. Okay, maksudnya dia habis dekat one computer saja. That's the limitation of the industry 3.0. Okay, and now we are sitting in the industry 4.0. We can see there are cyber physical system or we call it CPS. Okay, for example, the implementation of AI. Okay, robotics. Okay, apa lagi? Internet of Things and so on. Okay, by using the internet or cloud technologies. Okay, so that's now we are living in the industry 4.0. For example, you can monitor or you can facilitate an online communication with another team members. Okay, for example, you have a big companies. Okay, and your workers is around the globe. For example, ada dekat India, ada dekat China, Japan, and so on. Okay, you can facilitate or you can joint venture or you can share information for production, updates, and so on. Okay, for research purpose. Okay, by using the networks. Okay, that's we talk about industry 4.0. Okay, so the difference between 3.0 and 4.0 is more on the computing technology enhancements. Okay. So this is the explanation about the industry 4.0. Okay, as you can see, the first point, okay, usage of cloud technology. Okay, when you heard about cloud technology, for example, cloud storage, okay, cloud computing, okay, cloud technology. Okay, the term cloud itself is about the internet. Okay, maksudnya internet technology, internet storage, and apa lagi? Internet, soalan lah. It's about the cloud. Cloud maksudnya internet. When you heard about the cloud, which means it's about the internet. Okay. For example, cloud storage kan, we have cloud storage. For example, Google Drive. Okay, Mega, Dropbox. Okay, Apple Store mana Apple Store? Apple Cloud Okay, iCloud. Okay, iCloud is example of the internet storage. Okay. So the implementation of the cloud technology is embedded into the 4.0. Okay, 3.0 tak ada cloud lagi just where only the computer itself, but there are no internet lagi. Okay, so 4.0 you utilize the computer and also the internet technology. Okay, for example, you can utilize the AI. Okay, you can, for example, dekat Tesla punya company, for example, I think most of you know about Elon Musk. Okay, engineering kan. Okay, for production dekat Tesla company dia, 90% ialah robotics. All the AI, all the robotics take over the production line of the Tesla car. Okay, dalam dia punya Tesla production line. Okay, only 10% ialah human. Okay, human tu kenapa ada? Still ada 10%. For example, for maintenance of the machine. Okay, specialist who caretaker of the devices, okay, for upgrading or research and purpose and so on. Okay, that's the only 10% people inside the Tesla company right now. Okay, and also we have Internet of Things. Okay, Internet of Things kita akan cerita kemudian. Okay, machine learning. Machine learning also is falls under the artificial intelligence. Okay. Okay, in a few years, saya rasa artificial intelligence is the I think nowadays pun artificial intelligence sebenarnya everywhere. Okay, if you go to dekat MySejahtera punya apps pun, sebenarnya dia orang apply artificial intelligence. For example, how they measure within your 1 kilometer radius kan. Dia orang bagi tahu, your area have this number of cases. So you need to be alert. Okay, when you go somewhere else location kan, they do something prediction based on your behavior or your appearance on that location. Okay, that's the artificial intelligence. Okay, so machine learning nanti saya akan tunjuk lah one of the example of the machine learning and so on. Okay, okay, for example, okay, dekat point number 3 ni, okay, for example, to monitor nowadays, I think Volvo company or a big machine company, for example, trucks and so on, okay, they are trying to move for Industry 4.0, okay, by using the 5G punya technology, punya internet, okay. Nowadays, kalau if you can search on the internet, okay, they're using 5G technologies on the truck, okay, so driver tak ada dalam truck dah sekarang, they stay in one location, okay. They're using the 5G connection and the truck is driven by the person who's not in the truck. Okay, nanti saya akan share lah, saya ada video tu, nanti saya akan share. Okay, so that's example of the Industry Revolution 4.0 by using the internet technologies, which is the 5G connections. Okay, so this is the impact, for example, more machines. Okay, sebab we are focusing on machines. Okay, industrial growth ialah bila you have a lot of machine, then your production it will be more faster, more capable. Okay, rosak pun kurang. Okay, compared to human labours, so on. Okay, goods were able to produce more and cheap. Okay, sebab korang tak perlu bayar labor yang banyak. Okay, instead of you have mass production, but you can save a lot of money, then you can sell in a cheap price to the consumer. Okay, and also the rise of the specialist profession. For example, specialist profession, for example, engineering. Okay, for example, nak create robot AI, you need a lot of specialist. For example, tak semestinya orang science computer saja to develop or to program the robotics. Okay, you need to have the electrical engineering people. Okay, machine engineering. Okay, apa lagi? Banyaklah. Okay, basically ICT is related to the electrical engineering part. Okay, sebab apa? Because we are developing or we programming based on the specific device that has been created by the electrical engineering people. Okay, so that's why we have the IEEE. Okay, kalau kau nampak IEEE, this is the electrical engineering punya board. Okay, so untuk software engineering, we have a lot of documentation that need to be followed by the electrical engineering board. Okay, so basically, yelah, the electrical engineering develop the hardware. Okay, but the hardware need to be function by using the program developed by the software engineering. Okay, so there are a lot of specialists that will be created. Okay, when there are impact of the industrial revolution. Okay, new invention and innovation, because there are a lot of company that competitive with each other. For example, bila SpaceX wujud, okay, before that we have only NASA and also Russian cosmonaut kan, and also now we see, for example, ada Blue Origin from the Amazonian. Okay, Jeff Bezos. Lepas tu we have China, Japan, India. Banyak lagi company they try to invest in the rocket and spaceship punya teknologi. Okay, that's on the new invention and innovation. Okay, the compete with each others. Okay, spur the rise of the large cities. Okay, for example, as you can see Silicon Valley. Okay, Silicon Valley, even though is far away from the New York, as macam kita tahu kan, New York is the main capital for the US, but here the California, they're familiar with the Silicon Valley. Okay, maybe some of you have known about Silicon Valley. Okay, Silicon Valley ni adalah macam hub IT dekat dunia. Okay, hub IT. Kat Malaysia ni mungkin kita boleh cakap macam Cyberjaya lah, tapi it's not a hub IT. Okay, for example, if you search or you Google for Silicon Valley, you can see there are a lot of big company, giant company on IT there. For example, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Android, Apple. All their facilities and the operation is coming from the Silicon Valley. Okay, and also we have I am proud to be a Malaysian. Okay, one of the manager on the business IT for the Apple is a Malaysian. Okay, saya tak ingat nama dia, tapi dia Malay ladies, coming from Kelantan. Okay, dia study abroad dekat US. Okay, then dia further master, and she get an opportunity to become the business analyst for the Apple. Okay, sekarang ni saya tak pasti dia jadi manager otak dekat situ. Okay, I met her in 2016. Masa tu dia datang visit dekat UMP. Okay, masa tu saya bawa habis belajar lah dekat UMP. Okay, she have a visit by my lecturer there. Okay, calling for her to meet his student. Okay, I am one of the consultant there at that time. Okay, after I've continue my bachelor, I do consultation with my lecturer. Okay, then he called she to have a talk with the students. Okay, so I joined the talk lah. Okay. Okay, the challenges of IR 4.0. Okay, so as you can see, where there are a lot of people focusing on one area, okay, the city will be crowded. Okay, and also the pollution, public health issues. Okay, for example, public health issues, malaria lah, dengue and so on. Okay, not a good pollutions. Okay. Okay, the third point, created war or imperialism and colonizations. Okay, yang ni bila kita cakap about the industry fight between the industry. Okay. Okay, workers suffer from long working hours. Okay, kalau korang pernah baca, okay, SpaceX punya staff, they are working 100 hours per week. Kita kalau kerja 40 jam pun dah bising kan, dia orang kerja 100 jam seminggu. Okay, so you can see how they manage their own time, their lifestyle and so on. Okay, but you need to okay, there are different between our Malaysian workers environment at their facilities and diorang punya facilities. Okay, they have their restroom. Okay, ada tempat tidur for them to play, to release stress and tension. But here in Malaysia, I didn't see any big companies that implement, not all, but there are few companies only that invest on these things. Okay, about the we talk about the stress. Okay, how to manage the stress of their workers who working on the long hours. Okay, and also society divided into rich and poor and so on. Okay, okay, you can read by yourself lah. Okay, next is the big data. Okay, big data is a something is very important right now. Okay, so big data is referred to the data that is so large, fast and complex that is difficult or impossible to process using the traditional method. Okay, traditional method, for example, you can imagine as a paperwork. Okay, okay, for example, here in Malaysia we have a 30 million of residents. Kita ada 30 juta. 32 kan? 32 juta. Okay, 30 juta lah. Okay, for example, korang bekerja dekat Jabatan Pendaftaran Negara, JPN. Okay, you manage to create the IC. Okay, each IC you need to have the name, okay, the parent's name, okay, apa lagi, and all related information about the one person only. Okay, korang bayang kalau satu data for each people, you at least you have 30 information that you need to save. Okay, 30 kali dengan 30 juta. How many data that you have? And all this data that you need to monitor, and for example, you want to do a data analysis, for example, 1 million information that you want to sort within a second. Okay, this is example of the big data. So big data is very fast and complex, and also large data. Okay, korang tak boleh simpan as in a paperworks. Macam mana korang nak simpan paperworks in for every people in Malaysia saja kan. Okay, it's a very big data, and for example, you want to find only one person. Okay, how you want to find 30 million of sheet of paper within a second? So you need to have the computer. Okay, that's we talk about the big data. Okay, belum kita cakap when you surf Facebook. Okay, Facebook, Instagram, apa lagi? Google. Okay, the service is provided to all the people around the globe. Okay, so around the globe kita ada berapa billion orang. So that's we talk about the big data. Okay, what you can do from the big data, for example. Okay, for example, you can predict or you can use for human behavior, for example. Okay, for this region or country, for example, Malaysia, apa human behavior, apa yang dia minat, type of food, for example, type of clothes, how their lifestyle, for example. Okay, for each country they have the different lifestyle. Okay, from this big data you can sort out of data. Okay, for example, you do data analysis. Okay, which country is the best for you to invest. Okay, for example, kalau korang jual beras kan, korang peniaga beras, tapi korang invest dekat negara yang bukan makanan ruji dia orang beras, so it's not functional. Okay, that's why you need to have the big data. You can focusing more on certain matters that you want to achieve. Okay, for example, from the big data. Okay, so mana datang dari big data? For example, from your survey form. Okay, for example, dekat MySejahtera, every day kan korang akan scan QR code kan. Okay, all the information that you click or you scan will be stored into the server farm. Okay, data center. Okay, and the data center have a lot of data. So there's example of the large data where the data is stored. Okay, from the data then you can monitor all the activities. For example, dekat 1 kilometer kan ada berapa banyak orang yang positif. Okay, that's example of the implementations. Okay. So for example, the application of big data, for example, for banking, okay, insurance, health itself kan. Sekarang ni kita focusing on health lah. We have a big issue on the COVID-19 kan. Okay, within your radius 1 kilometer, how many positive cases. So what is the function of the information that shown or given to you? So you need to aware about your areas or your community. Okay, that's the function. It's help others. It helps many people. Okay, from the big data applications. Okay, media entertaining, okay, energy and utilities and so on. Okay. Okay, the advantages and disadvantages, you can see, you can read by yourself. Okay, you can imagine what's the advantages of having the big data. Okay. Okay, next we have the IoT. Okay, IoT, as you can see here, the term is coming from Internet of Things. Okay, there are two key dekat nama dia saja, Internet and Things. Okay, so basically Internet of Things is the extension of the internet connectivity, okay, into the physical devices. Okay, maksudnya is the extension of the internet connectivity. Maksudnya you need to have the internet, okay, and the connectivity to the physical devices. Okay, for example, you connect from your smartwatch your phone and your smartwatch. Okay, for example, your smartwatch can monitor your heart rate, okay, your SPO, your daily stat intakes, okay, your calorie, for example, it can count, okay, and your stress level, okay, and all the information from your smartwatch can be transferred as long your smartwatch have the internet connectivity. Okay, so if it's transferred, for example, to your phone or to any devices, for you to visual the data, okay, or visual your activities, okay, or your visual your heart rate and so on. Okay, so from the output of the visualization, then you can manage or you can monitor all your activities. For example, if you have a stress level is high, what you need to do. Okay, for example, your daily intakes of water is reduced, what you need to do. Okay, maybe you have a hydration, for example, then you need to drink a lot of waters. Okay, that's the function of the Internet of Things. Okay, other than that, for example, you can monitor all your activities at your home. Okay, for example, you living abroad or you go somewhere else. Okay, for example, korang pergi travel kan, but you need to monitor all your house. Okay, then you can install the wireless camera inside your house, then you can monitor by using your phone, for example. Okay, that's the Internet of Things, which means you need to have the physical devices. For example, the wireless camera or your wired camera, and also your monitor devices, for example, your phone, your smartphone, and so on, your laptop, and all the things is connected to the internet. Then you can communicate between another devices through the internet. Okay, that's we talk about the Internet of Things. Okay, for example, the smartwatch, vehicle. Sekarang ni kan you can communicate with your you can instruct your car to go somewhere. Okay, for example Tesla kan, you can set the direction that you want to reach, then the car can drive itself. Okay, even though there are a lot of companies yang invest juga dekat smart cars kan, for example Audi, okay, Mercedes, BMW, okay, big company already invest in the Internet of Things to their technologies. Okay, second last is the cloud computing. So cloud macam tadi lah, when we talk about cloud, it's refer to the internet itself. Okay, so which means this is about the internet computing. Okay, so for internet computing, we have the three components. Okay, dekat bawah tu lah. Okay, we have the client. Okay, client maksudnya pengguna lah. We are the client. Okay, for example, sekarang kita guna internet for facilitate the online meetings. Okay, we are the clients. Okay. Second, you need to have the internet connection lah. Kalau tak ada internet, macam mana kita communicate kan? Okay. And the third one, you need to have the cloud provider. For example, you subscribe internet from Unify, DG, Maxis, account and so on. That's the internet service provider. Okay. Maksudnya, the cloud provider will give the internet connection service for communicating. Okay. And we are the user of the service. Okay. Okay. For example, you can use another cloud technology. For example, we have the cloud storage. Okay, cloud storage. For example, you have the Google Drive, okay, Dropbox, iCloud, Mega, and so on. Okay, cloud apps. For example, email. Okay, social media. We have a Facebook, Instagram. Because you need to have the internet connection, baru korang boleh get the latest feed, can watch the video, and so on. Okay, so that's why you need to have the internet. Okay, last is the AI. Okay, so AI is study of the intelligence behavior. Okay, in human or animal. Okay, for example, we apply the AI technology to mimic the human behavior. For example, to do something or production line. For example, sekarang ni kan ada robot yang bersih rumah tu kan, yang jalan dekat bawah lantai tu. Okay, that's example of the AI. Okay, but the function is limit lah untuk clean the surface area saja. That's also intelligence. Okay, intelligence technologies. Okay, so AI is a particular tools that apply logics. Okay, for example, kalau dia langgar something kan, which mean kalau tak pun dia detect something that's detect the movement of the device. So they akan create a fuzzy logics. Okay, maksudnya dia akan detect, okay, this is the presence of something inside there, so dia akan move ke something else. Ataupun dia dah already reach, cover this area, okay, then dia akan pergi ke tempat lain, for example. Okay, that's an example of the AI logics. Okay, and also a neural networks. Okay, what is the neural networks? Okay, when we talk about neural networks, is about the how brain is function. Okay, neurons. Okay. Okay, this is one example in 2005, developed in the Vietnam. Okay, saya tak tahu apa function they develop. Maybe they want to train their athlete to become the world class athlete on ping pong ke example, kita tak tahu kan. Okay, but the Tokyo, okay, Tozi ping pong playing robots ni, okay, is a humanoid robot design. Okay, dia berbentuk manusia, humanoid robots. Okay, designed to play a table tennis against a human being. So dia akan lawan dengan manusia. But every movement that you play, okay, dia akan belajar something baru. Okay, use an advanced artificial intelligence system to learn and continuously improve its skill. Okay, so dia macam manusia juga. Okay, maybe some of you have think about the apa cerita Terminator, for example. Okay, that's example of the that's example of the artificial intelligence that take over the world. Okay, kita tak tahu maybe few years later kan, maybe a leak of AI robot take over the world, we don't know. Okay, so this is some companies that using artificial intelligence for improve their service. For example, detecting and deterring security intrusions. Okay, for example, sekarang kan, for example, your phone lah, you can use your phone to unlock. For example, use fingerprint, okay, face detection semua kan. Okay, that's example how your computer is read the data from your how to you lock the data. For example, kalau guna face recognition ni kan, codes, so dia akan baca all information that you have registered to unlock your devices using your face, for example. Okay, there's also artificial intelligence. Okay, so each for example, your eyebrow, how your face, okay, the shape of your face, okay, your hair and so on. That's why you need to register first. It's become the raw data to unlock your phones, okay, using the artificial intelligence. So it will compare between the data that you have registered with the face that you are scanning right now. For example, you scanning using your cat kan, then you are not valid to unlock your phone. Okay, you need to have the valid data to unlock your phone using the data that you have been registered. Okay, so that's an example of the artificial intelligence. So basically, it's around us anywhere. Either you aware the presence of the technologies or not. Okay, so I think that's all for chapter 1. Okay, so any question before we end our class for today? Tapi kalau if you have any question later, you can post in the WhatsApp group. Okay, don't PM me directly. Lagi-lagi tengah malam. I also have a lot of things that I want to do. Okay, now I located in the PPV. Okay, after that I need to go back to the PPV to continue my task. Okay, before they close at 5 PM today. Okay, anything before we end our class for today, our first meeting?
No, sir.
Tak ada. So see you for next week for chapter 2. So for tomorrow I will give you instruction for our activities. So I think that's all for today. Thank you. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Send some
Salam.